They were children when the world first demanded everything from them. Cristiano Ronaldo grew up in Madeira, a small Portuguese island where poverty shaped his hunger. Lionel Messi arrived in Barcelona as a fragile boy from Argentina, his body fighting against a growth hormone deficiency. Neither knew that their names would one day define an entire generation of football. The pressure started quietly, like a whisper that gradually became a roar. Every goal they scored raised expectations higher. Every trophy they lifted made the next one mandatory. By their mid-20s, they had become prisoners of their own brilliance. The world no longer asked if they would be great. It demanded that they be perfect, every single time they stepped onto the pitch. Ronaldo trained with obsessive discipline, sculpting his body into a machine that refused to age. Messi moved across the field like poetry, his feet guided by instincts that seemed almost supernatural. But greatness came with a price neither had anticipated. Journalists dissected their every mistake. Fans turned into judges, comparing their achievements in endless debates. Former players who had accomplished far less felt entitled to criticize their choices. The two superstars found themselves trapped in a competition they never personally declared. They respected each other deeply, but the world insisted they be enemies. Every award ceremony became a battlefield. Every international tournament turned into a referendum on their legacies. Sleep became difficult for both men. Ronaldo lay awake thinking about records he hadn't broken yet. Messi felt the weight of Argentina's expectations crushing his chest. Their families watched them transform from joyful players into stressed warriors. The beautiful game they once loved had become a relentless test of their worth. And still, they continued performing miracles, because stopping was never an option. The Ballon d'Or ceremonies became annual rituals of anxiety. Ronaldo won it 5 times. Messi claimed it 8. But each trophy felt heavier than the last, a golden reminder that next year they would have to prove themselves all over again. The rivalry pushed them to heights nobody thought possible, yet it also drained something essential from their souls. Ronaldo began feeling phantom pains in his knees, warnings from a body pushed beyond human limits. Messi developed stomach issues before important matches, his body manifesting the stress his mind tried to suppress. Their teammates saw the toll up close. At Real Madrid, players watched Ronaldo study opponent videos until 3 in the morning. At Barcelona, they witnessed Messi standing alone on empty training grounds, practicing free kicks long after everyone had left. The dedication was admirable but also frightening. These weren't just athletes preparing for games. They were men fighting against the inevitable passage of time, desperate to extend their reign at the summit. The media manufactured controversies to fuel the debate. They compared goal statistics as if football was only about numbers. They analyzed facial expressions during interviews, searching for signs of jealousy or bitterness. Ronaldo felt compelled to respond, to defend his accomplishments with passionate declarations. Messi retreated into silence, letting his feet do the talking while anxiety ate at him internally. Their children began appearing in stadiums, watching their fathers perform under unbearable scrutiny. What would these kids remember? Would they recall magical moments of brilliance, or would they remember the stress etched into their fathers' faces? Both men started questioning what they were sacrificing. Ronaldo missed family gatherings for training sessions. Messi felt guilty taking vacations when rivals were working. The throne they sat on was made of expectations, and it offered no comfort whatsoever. The 2014 World Cup in Brazil broke something inside Messi. Argentina reached the final, and he carried his nation on his fragile shoulders through every match. In the championship game against Germany, he had a chance to become immortal. The shot went wide. Germany won. Messi stood on the field afterward, his eyes empty, holding the Golden Ball award for best player of the tournament. It felt like a cruel joke. He had been named the best individual player while his team fell short of the ultimate prize. Critics pounced immediately, claiming he wasn't truly great because he lacked a World Cup trophy. Meanwhile, Ronaldo faced his own demons with Portugal. He had won the Champions League multiple times, broken every scoring record imaginable, but his national team struggled in major tournaments. When Portugal finally won the 2016 European Championship, Ronaldo spent most of the final on the sidelines with an injury, tears streaming down his face as he coached from the bench. The victory should have silenced his critics. Instead, they claimed he didn't truly earn it since he barely played in the final. Nothing was ever enough. Both men began experiencing what psychologists call achievement depression. They had climbed the mountain, planted their flags at the summit, and discovered the view was lonely and cold. Younger players looked at them with admiration, unaware of the suffocating pressure that came with such status. Ronaldo started making controversial moves, leaving Real Madrid for Juventus, then Manchester United, then Saudi Arabia. Each transfer sparked debates about his legacy. Was he chasing money? Running from challenges? Messi's departure from Barcelona in 2021 was even more traumatic. The club he loved couldn't afford to keep him due to financial chaos. He cried during the farewell press conference, a grown man mourning the death of a dream he had nurtured since childhood. Social media transformed their rivalry into a toxic battleground. Fans created accounts dedicated solely to tearing down one player while elevating the other. Every statistic became ammunition. Every lost match became proof of inferiority. Ronaldo's supporters pointed to his athleticism, his success in multiple leagues, his aerial dominance. Messi's followers highlighted his natural talent, his vision, his ability to make teammates better. The arguments raged endlessly, drowning out the simple truth that both were extraordinary. The constant comparison affected how they viewed themselves. Ronaldo became obsessed with matching every one of Messi's achievements. When Messi won his 7th Ballon d'Or, Ronaldo's Instagram activity suggested deep frustration. Messi, typically quiet about individual honors, seemed exhausted by the never-ending cycle of judgment. Friends close to both players revealed that they rarely discussed each other privately. Their mutual respect was genuine, but they avoided the topic because it had been poisoned by outside voices. Yet they couldn't escape it. Every interview included questions about the other. Every career decision was analyzed through the lens of their rivalry. Endorsement deals, social media followers, jersey sales, everything became part of the comparison. Their identities had merged into a single narrative they couldn't control. Psychologists who studied elite athletes began using Ronaldo and Messi as case studies in the dangers of external validation. Both men had achieved more than almost anyone in sports history, yet neither seemed truly at peace. The burden of being considered the greatest of all time meant that anything less than perfection felt like failure. Younger stars like Mbappe and Holland watched this unfold and saw a cautionary tale. They witnessed how greatness could become a trap, how reaching the top meant spending the rest of your career defending that position against an army of critics who wanted to see you fall. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar gave Messi his moment of redemption. At 35 years old, carrying Argentina through another tournament, he finally lifted the trophy that had haunted his dreams. The image of him holding the World Cup, his face a mixture of exhaustion and relief, became instantly iconic. For once, the achievement seemed to bring actual peace rather than just temporary satisfaction. Ronaldo's World Cup in Qatar was bittersweet. Portugal was eliminated in the quarterfinals, and his role had diminished. Sitting on the bench during crucial moments, he faced the reality every athlete must eventually accept: time defeats everyone. His move to Saudi Arabia afterward was criticized by some, but perhaps it represented something deeper. Maybe it was his way of stepping off the relentless treadmill of European football's judgment. Both men entered the twilight of their careers with different perspectives. Messi joined Inter Miami and seemed genuinely happy, playing with less pressure, enjoying moments with his family. Ronaldo continued scoring goals in Saudi Arabia, still competing fiercely but in an environment with less scrutiny. The burden they carried for nearly 2 decades began to lighten, not because they achieved everything possible, but because they finally allowed themselves to be human. They started speaking more openly about mental health, about the loneliness of elite performance, about the cost of sustained excellence. Young players listened with new understanding. The greatest lesson Ronaldo and Messi taught wasn't about winning trophies or breaking records. It was about the price of greatness and the courage required to keep going when the whole world is watching. Their rivalry pushed football to unprecedented heights, but it also revealed how society's obsession with comparison can transform gift into burden. As they approached retirement, both men seemed to realize that their true victory wasn't over each other, it was over the expectations that threatened to consume them.